Hello, everybody, and welcome into Sunday, March 24th, 2024. I must be the echo. Let me go check that out. Yep, there's one echoing, and there's two echoing. That solves the echo problem. Sorry about that. We have Greg Guy, we have Rich, we have Chris Garrett with his headlights, Jeff Ryman, Sam, Sin, Jose, Photo Mix Media, and Josh Kidner joining us. I'll unmute you guys from OBS so you can say hello if you would like to.
Hello.
Hello.
Jeff waves.
You won't believe how much this helps for you to read though.
Well,
These
I bet it helps a lot.
it does.
I know
Hello, Lord.
when I try to read something on my phone, if I go when I turn the light up all the way, I can read it so much easier. Now, I do hope everyone realizes my background is tongue in cheek. Okay, obviously that's a bad joke considering I just had a tooth removed. It's still tongue in cheek. All right. Um, and I hope everyone realizes that. That was just
Is
strictly.
that how much you had to pay for the extraction?
Yeah, I wish. But oh my gosh. Um, don't want to know how much I paid to have that little dumb thing. I'm still swollen. You can see it a little bit, but it's not. It's gone down in the last few hours. This afternoon, it was really still swollen, and we put a ice pack on it to try to take the swelling down. It was also affecting my eye as well. My eye was slightly
So was it a
swollen.
molar?
No, it was over here in the middle of my mouth. I think he said it was tooth number. I want to say. I think he said it was tooth number 5. I think is what he said. I don't know. It didn't. It could have been tooth number 123. I just wanted it gone because it hurt. It hurt like you would not believe. And I'm still a little bit in pain on my gum. I did have somewhat decent soup tonight with potatoes, coyote. Um,
Coyote.
yeah, it's not how you say it. It's a Philippine fruit. Well, it's a vegetable. I think it's a fruit now that I think about it. It might be a vegetable. I don't know. It's pretty good. It's a squash, is what it is. And I'm not a big squash eater, but I do happen to like that particular squash. Um, it's pretty good, actually. So I'm going to get this going here. Tony Wallow was first tonight. Thank you, Tony. Also, Tony. Oh, maybe this. There we go. Tony was.
Well, it's full moon tonight. If Ken start howling, we know why. He ate coyote.
Yeah, exactly. Tony Wallow with a $1.99 contribution to the channel. Thank you, Tony. That puts me $1.99 closer to my next threshold, which will hopefully be within about a 28 to 30 day period. Great guy said he's second place and he's getting closer. If I did this a different way, I wouldn't have to keep looking to my left. I can read him right off of here. Rick Lake said, "Hello, it's snowing pretty good here." Nothing personal, Rick, but you can keep the snow where you're at. That's fine. Don't need no snow.
Yeah,
That's
they got late winter.
yeah. Well, our temperatures the next week look relatively comfortable. There are absolutely no golfing days coming up that I can foresee unless it drastically changes. But you never know. You just never know. Chef Ryman says, "Good evening from the fun capital of the Southwest, Sin City." Yes, exactly. Sam says, "Hello." Tony says, "Normal on the volume." Sam says, "I have no idea he's lost." Hey, stick around for later. You want to be lost. You should have been here this afternoon. Long Dog joins us in chat. Did they do like a root canal? Oh no. If they did a root canal, if this little one tooth extraction affected me as bad as it did, I would hate to see the hell Mrs. K would have to go through if they did a root canal on me, because she went through an awful lot this weekend taking care of me. Now, a little bit of thinking, we would have done it on her weekend to work, and then I would have been okay, I think. He had some dental work done. How long ago did you have the dental work done, Long Dog? He said he had some dental work done, and it's still sensitive around the area. They worked on very sensitive, hot and cold. I had no problem with cold's okay. What bothered me today was I took 2 drinks of coffee, and it really upset my stomach. Now, we figured that's because I haven't had any. I've lost 10 pounds, by the way, since Thursday. I'm under 230. I know I'm not going to stay under 230, but I am under 230. I have not been eating at all. Tonight was probably the most food I've had to eat since Thursday, and it was soup. And I actually, when I got my second helping of soup, I told Mrs. K, I said, I do not want any beef on this go around because it could possibly get stuck in my hole in my mouth now. His wife's a dental assistant. I brought it up to her, then maybe there's more. Yeah, he wants to pull one more tooth. That's not going to happen until May, June, July, August, September, October, November, December. Oh, possibly next March. I don't know. Until it starts on the x-rays, it shows that there's something going on. It's not bothering me right now. So my philosophy on that is if it's not bothering me, it ain't broke, why fix it? Oh, yeah, the x-ray shows there's something going on, but right now, oh, doggone, I'll be right back. I gotta go see the dentist. Guess I've lost my touch of humor a little bit. Been gone for 2.5 days or a day. How long have I been gone? Anyone keeping track?
Was it the pain medication you think that was upsetting your stomach and all that?
Jeff, I do not know, but I really don't know. I
guess I've been fortunate. When I've had teeth extracted, I never really have had that much difficulty. A little soreness afterwards, but I haven't really had to take a narcotic or anything.
Yeah. Mrs. K was actually shocked that they didn't prescribe anything for pain, which is fine. We made it through it. And the pain was, my gums hurt and my cheek hurt, and it still does. If I touch my cheek, it's still a little bit tender. But my stomach was just, it was take a drink of water, and 30 seconds later, I would have to try to get to the bathroom, and I did not make it more times than I really care to remember. It almost got to the point where I was going to try to rest on the couch because it's 10 feet away from that bathroom.
The worst thing you can get, I guess, healing up from an extraction, if you have bad luck, is dry socket.
They mentioned that. They said, whatever I do, do not spit. I'm standing there at the desk drooling. She goes, you just need to swallow it. I said, but there's blood in it. And she said, you just need to swallow it. And I'm like, oh my gosh. So maybe it was me swallowing.
Well, I've never heard that in regard to dry socket. They've never told me that.
That's because she said you need to
dry
swallow
socket
it.
Happens when the thing doesn't close up.
Right. Well, that and this probably won't come through, but here's the last gauze that I have. I don't know if it'll show up.
Yeah, they give me gauze. And you roll it up and you keep it
exactly
tight on it for a while and
keep
all
it
of that.
packed. Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's the last one, and I have it. Poor Mrs. K taking care of me. Yeah. Oh my gosh, we had a couple of interesting discussions actually.
Yeah. Well, at least the extraction didn't happen from the frying pan flying across the room.
No, and we were thinking about trying to find some gauze and wrap my head up really good. And I'll say, well, the tooth is fine, but when Mrs. K hit me on the head, that's starting to bother me a little bit. She would not play along. I wanted her. I did want her Friday night to come in here and sit here and tell you guys what had happened, but she just didn't want to do that. So,
That's all right.
And I wasn't going to force her to do it. So, I said, how bad do you want to go to San Diego? By the way, we're still leaving on the 19th at 6 a.m. in the morning. That'll be here before we know it. Today's the 24th. We got, a week left in this month?
Yep.
And then just 18 short days, and we'll be on the road. And looking forward to the trip, actually. Looking really forward to the trip.
How many days it take you to get there? 2 days?
We're going to do it in 3, Chris. We're in absolutely no hurry going out there or coming back. I'm allotting ourselves a 3-day, 10 to 12-hour day.
3 days seems short to me, a short time.
Yeah, without looking at the mileage, it's like 700 miles one day, 620 something the next, and like 600 the next.
Yeah, I've reached a point where I don't want to drive more than 6 or 7 hours a day, no matter what.
Oh, I'll stop. We stopped several times when we went. Does it really take 3 days to get to Arkansas? It might. It just might. I asked my wife, who's a dental assistant, and they got more questions that sound like you really should have. I cannot, Long Dog, I cannot describe the pain I had in my stomach. And I wasn't eating anything because of the pain in my stomach, and it still didn't make no difference. I take some water for my normal meds because he didn't say I wasn't supposed to take my normal meds, so I did that. Nope, no antibiotics. Nope, no. Shoot me up, get me numb, get my lip all swollen. Went in there, and he was like, "Can you feel that? Can you feel that?" I'm like, "I don't feel nothing." He goes, "Oh, I think you're numb now." And next thing I know, out comes the tooth, and that's when it really started. I was able to drive home. Didn't bother me a bit to drive home. Probably half hour, 40 minutes after getting home, it like hit me at one time. I was present during that pain. Yeah, I wished you were. You would have had more sympathy than the so-called nurse in there. Oh, hi, she's looking at me. She's standing in the doorway, got her hands on her hips. Got a feeling I'm in the doghouse here. Let me mute the microphone and take care of some business.
You had to drive home? I guess he wasn't.
Yeah, Chris, I had to drive. Mrs. K doesn't drive. I actually contemplating going to some schools on the weekends that are closed and retraining her. Horrible choice of words. Teaching her to drive again. I mean, heaven forbid if something were to happen and we need to get to the hospital, because she ain't calling 911 with the fiasco we're going through right now with the VA. And the county line hospital's about 2 miles away. It actually is 1, 2, 3 lights from us is the hospital. So I would think one left turn out of here, one left turn on the county line, she ought to be able to handle that. But I don't know. I don't know that I can trust her.
Here's something else you can throw in the mix. What if something was to happen while you're teaching her to drive? What if something was to happen on the school's property? It messes up something, and then you're liable to fix the school's damages of the school's property.
I don't know about your schools down there, but the schools we have up here, it would have to be an awfully egregious error for her to damage school property. Our parking lots are bigger than airports up here for these schools.
It's a public school. He pays taxes. He can do what he wants.
That's right. Thank you, Chris.
We got a school parking lot over here that's empty whenever there's a holiday or anything. So everybody, since there's not a lot of parking around our house, everybody parks over there in the school parking lot right across the street when we're having everybody over here for Christmas or Thanksgiving or whatnot.
Yep, I can see that.
It's just super convenient.
I taught all my kids, at the time I had 3 stepchildren, I taught all my kids how to drive at a school parking lot, because the school that we had, it actually had a road around it and a road going to the various campuses within the school with stop signs, with people driving, probably doing the same thing I was doing. So it was a really good place to teach them how to drive.
Yeah, my dad taught me how to drive on little country roads. Of course, that's one of the advantages of living in a little tiny town.
Of course, yeah.
That's a dirt road.
You can be driving out in the country roads, and you'll never see another car for an hour sometimes. You know?
Sometimes, yeah. That's how I learned to drive on a tractor, and then you go from a tractor went from a tractor to a truck with the 3 on the tree. How many people here remember the old 3 on the tree?
Oh, look, that's what I learned to drive with.
Yep. Yeah, funny thing about using a clutch, sometimes it's not the easiest thing to learn.
But most farm kids are driving from the time they're about 10 years old.
Oh, yeah.
On private property. I mean, they're driving on the back roads on the farm, and there's not even anything illegal about that.
Nope.
Go ahead. I remember when I was a little kid, my grandpa let me control. Let me drive the drive this 4-wheeler once we got in the driveway, and I gunned it, of course, and run it right into the house.
I wouldn't be bragging about that if I were you. Who paid for that? The taxpayers or your mom and dad? Right over his head.
I didn't damage nothing. I was a little 8, 9-year-old kid, 10-year-old kid, and didn't know what he was doing, and ran right into the house.
Yeah, a friend of mine had a mini bike, which was backwards on the throttle. Instead of pulling it down to go faster, how did that? It was backwards. Pull it down goes faster, and release it back, or go upwards made it go slower. His was backwards. When you rotated it upward, it went faster. When you rotated it down, it went faster. Well, after you've ridden mini bikes and bikes and everything else, it's just ingrained in your head. You pull the doggone thing down, you rotate it backwards to go faster. So, he told me, he says, now bear in mind, this is backwards. You got it. Yeah, I got it, Mike. I got it. I didn't got it. I ended up putting me and that mini bike in the middle of a what they called a sticky bush, which was fortunately half dead at the time. It was so funny too, because everybody come running over and like, "Are you all right? Are you all right?" Except for Mike, he goes, "My bike." It was a mini bike. Now, it wasn't anything spectacular. It was a doggone mini bike. Oh man, memories! I tell you, good times. That's what's doing. When I was a kid, go ahead, Sin, or whoever started to speak. Am I hearing things? I hear Greg's TV. No, Greg, but Greg's TV. Okay.
I was going to say, if it's a mini bike, I'm surprised you fit on it.
I have always been big. Back when that happened, I was not 6'4" tall. I probably was 5'8", 5'9", somewhere in that neck of the woods. I didn't
That's
get
about what I am now.
Yeah, I don't think you'll ever make it to 6'4". I don't want to be the bearer of bad news, but if 6'4" is on your list of achievements, you just better scratch it off.
It's not. It's not.
That's good. Trying to think how old I was. How old are you when you're in the 7th grade?
Well,
Okay, I was 13. I was 13, I think.
Did you not get held back any grades going 1 through 6?
yes, he did.
In the
Well,
5th grade.
There you go. So let's go with.
I had to repeat the 5th grade.
I never had to repeat any grades. So let's go with 12. I was 6'4" tall at 12 years old. Not a good thing. I mean, as I got older, it was a good thing, but not at 12 years old, it's not a good thing. And by the way, Long Dog wrote, W-R-O-T-E. He didn't ride or rode, R-O-D-E, but I know it's his speech to text, and I'm just making fun of him.
And for the record, the school would not have held me back. My mom is the one that wanted me to be held back because of my math at the time.
That is interesting. Did your math get any better?
I stayed in what they call resource math, which was basically I stayed in basic math, non-algebra, all the way through high school. So when I went to college, I had to start algebra completely from scratch and do all 3 of the classes. Algebra 1, 2, and then college algebra.
Alex, I think that was a yes or no question. Answer.
Yeah, we were thinking the same thing because I was getting ready to say that as well. Oh my goodness.
Remember, it's Alex, though.
I really enjoyed the questions
Good
at
point.
the interview. I really enjoyed the questions at the interview they asked me Thursday. because they actually said, describe a time when this happened. Describe a time when that happened. So I was able to explain it and not be penalized because of it.
Like me putting you in the waiting room for talking about your job. Is that what you're referring to? How do you figure you don't get penalized at a job interview for bringing stuff up, do you? I mean, I know I'm good and I've reached out to a lot of people, but I can't see them putting you in the waiting room because that's the wrong way. Let's go back that way. There we go.
But my point was that they actually asked me to explain it. As y'all want, much like my mom and dad, y'all want a yes or no answer, which I can't.
If it's a
give.
yes and no question, so let me ask you this: did they ask you a yes and no question? I've stumped him. I've stumped him with a simple question. And did you answer it with a yes or no answer?
Yes.
No, you didn't. Don't sit there and lie to me. You're lying to the world right now. You know that? There are 12 people watching us across YouTube that you just lied to.
All of their questions that I remember were explain a time when you did this. Explain a scenario, something. It was computer. Most of their questions were they were reading them off of the computer, off their computers. It was their computer generated HR whatever question.
Yeah, I may discuss your interview after the stream ends. I do have a couple of questions that I would like to get answered, and as long as you keep it brief and simple. In other words, if it's a yes question, yes or no, not a well, and an hour later we get an answer. But I do have a couple questions.
Yeah, me too. I also have a few questions for you, Alex. A yes or no question. I'm not going to ask for an essay for each question, but a yes or no.
You do understand that concept, right?
Yes.
Oh my gosh, he's answered 2 in a row. Holy cow. Yes, Long Dog, he is answering. Well, he is the mayor of Sheridan after all. I mean, he's got aspirations to become the governor of Arkansas. So we're good practice for him. And I tried to make a slight adjustment, but it looks like I'm a little pink now. Jose, no comments.
Oh, I haven't said anything, but yeah, you were talking about your mouth. but you were talking about your mouth and swallow, spit it. Oh, whatever.
Yeah, I got your message. I answered you. Okay, that looks worse. This is why I do everything automatically, because if I start messing with this stuff, I mean, that looks horrible. But I think I get the studio back next week. I'm not 100% sure yet. He came over this afternoon, and we sat down and had a very nice, long, lengthy talk. And, I mean, I told him he's welcome to stay here as long as he needs to. Did I get a silly email from you? Which email did you send it to? My 2016 or my Zoom email? I don't mean to be answering like Alex, but I do not recall getting any emails recently from you. Yes, Ghetto, you got your light went off. Are you trying to say something? I don't know which one. You can send it to either one. I prefer if it's channel related that you go. I'm turning into Doug. If it's channel related, I prefer you send it to the Zoom. If it's not channel related, you can send it to my other one. That's fine. Doesn't matter. I just checked the one. I didn't have anything there. I'm checking the other one right now. And nope, I have a hey Jen and an email from the dentist himself. But other than that, I do not have anything. Is it possible you wrote it, drafted it, and forgot to send it? I mean, I've never done that, ever.
The dentist wants you to come back tomorrow so he can pull the other 2 teeth.
Oh, if he had his way, exactly.
I was going to say, how did you manage to get an email directly from the dentist? My doctor's dentist or dentist never send me direct emails directly from their
Called allowing somebody else to use your email account.
I'm sure it didn't come specifically from the dentist personally. I'm sure it's from his office, and he's just got the generic blah 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 dentist blah blah blah. I mean,
I know, but
we connected. We're gonna play golf, but we're not that close yet.
that's what I was trying to figure out. Because most of the time when I get a message from my doctor or my dentist or whatever, it's one of them automated, appointment reminder things.
No, this was actually relatively touching. Yes, Long Dog. I just got one. I just got an email pop up on my phone. I will check it out when the stream is over.
You have to log in.
I got a funny feeling you drafted it and forgot to send it. Done that. Been there, done that. More times than I can remember.
And I've went to the doctor before and had stuff done to send off to like my camp, and ask them to email me. Ask them to email me the stuff back because I have to scan it and send it back to camp, and they said they wouldn't do it, so I had to take the paper copy and scan it myself and send it to camp.
Well, sometimes you do have to do that. All right, I've got the email. Went to my 2016. I will read it here in just a few short minutes.
Worst thing about some of the doctors I've dealt with in recent years is that a lot of them have a notification service to remind you of an appointment.
Right.
Sometimes that comes from a number other than the doctor's office number that you have in your phone.
Right.
And it'll be an 800 number or something, and you don't know whether the hell to answer it or not. Unfortunately, most of them will go to voicemail.
Right. That's what I hate is when they don't go to voicemail, and then when you call them later, oh yeah, we called you. What number did you use? Yeah, I don't like that either. And the VA is starting to scare me because I got an email yesterday, I think it was, that said they are refilling automatically one of my prescriptions. But here's the problem with that. My medications are set up on a 90-day basis. I take four different type of medicines. I take 2 in the morning and a metformin. I take 1 at night and a metformin. So that's 4. Logically, you would think if they got to refill one because the 90 days is up, they would have to refill the other 3 at the same time. I don't know which one it is. You just said they're refilling it. So I'm still going, that makes no sense to me. And ironically, I was going to ask them to fill them early because I planned the trip counting my medications, and right now, as it stands, I'll run out of medicine halfway through the trip, so I'm going to get them to send them to me earlier. That way I don't.
I got a question. So when did you meet George?
When did I meet George? I'm lost. Who or what are you talking about?
You said you met Foreman.
Oh.
Well, his first name is George. George Foreman, the grill.
Waiting room.
And with that, ladies and gentlemen, I will end the show because I don't want to put poor Alex in the waiting room while I'm live. I don't want any flack or feedback from that. Oh, hell, what do I care? I want to thank everybody for joining us. I want to thank Greg and Rich and Jeff, Sam, Sin, Chris, Jose, Josh Kinder. Bobby Warren just popped into chat and says that he hopes that I feel better. The grill is how he knows him. Yes, Wintermute, that is 100% true. I also want to thank Tony Wallow again for the $1.99 super chat. That puts me on the way to my second threshold. Thank you very much. I want to thank Long Dog, Wintermute, Bobby Warren. If I missed anybody from chat, I'm not doing it intentionally. Robert Michael was there. I believe One Fish was there. Sam Ghetto was there. And Sim was there. So thank you, gentlemen. I will be back tomorrow night at 10 o'clock. If you would like to join us on... Did he leave? Somebody left. If you'd like to join us on the Zoom, kstout@z00m@gmail.com. I'll get you the credentials. we'll get you on the panel, and we promise we won't make too much fun of you until your second night. Maybe that's why people don't come back. I'm not
You
sure.
forgot to mention me.
I did not forget. Okay, so if you walk out of the room and I happen to say, well, thanks a lot, Greg, turn your hearing aids up. That's all I got to say.
I don't have hearing aids. Don't need them.
Good night, everybody.
See ya.
You forgot to